Just left my house, going to Australia.
Welcome to Modern Grand Tour with me, Garland Lowe. After completing the European leg of my round the world journey, we now arrive in the world's largest country, Russia. Riding the full length of the famous Trans-Siberian Railway, we'll couchsurf with locals along the way to get an insider's view of the fascinating Russian culture. Beginning in the western part of this Eurasian country, my new Russian friends and I explore St. Petersburg, Moscow, Vladimir Suzdal, Nizhny Novgorod, Perm and Yekaterinburg. Then in the eastern part we discover Tobolsk Tyumen, Novosibirsk, Irkutsk and Okhotsk Island, Ulan-Ude, Khabarovsk and finally Vladivostok. In this 7th episode across Russia and the 15th in this Modern Grand Tour series, we'll learn about the Siberian Tatars, taking the most breathtaking views on my Russian trip so far, and of course, meet the locals. So let's explore the town of Tobolsk and the city of Tюмень.
A lovely little city centre this, actually, Tobolsk.
My first stop in the massive lands of Siberia, Tobolsk was the historic capital of the region and thus the headquarters for Russia's colonisation of the East. Famous for being a place of exile, the Swedish army, Dostoevsky and Tsar Nicholas II were all sent to Tobolsk. But with the new Trans-Siberian Railway bypassing the town in the late 1800s, Tobolsk's importance declined. Today, its Kremlin, known as the Pearl of Siberia, is the only Kremlin in Russia's eastern lands, making it an attractive tourist destination and my first place to visit.
Pretty impressive. It's an impressive building. It's all kind of grim though, isn't it? Of course it would be kind of grim. It's Jesus dying on a cross. But Protestantism isn't so grim. In fact, it's kind of happy. It's all like church fates and things like that. And then you've got evangelical churches. They're all singing and dancing and clapping hands. I mean, the whole spectrum of Christianity. From the grim to the disco. No, maybe not disco.
Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. There was a cat that really was gone. Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine. It was a shame how he carried on.
Grigori Rasputin was born in the Siberian village of Pokrovskoye, just 2 hours by car southeast of Tobolsk, which should actually be about here. An illiterate mystic, he was brought into the Tsar's family for successfully stopping the bleeding of the Tsar's haemophilic son. But he was hated by many, first for having considerable political influence over the Tsar, and second for being part of a religious sexual cult, which may have included sleeping with the Tsar's wife. Seen as a threat to the country, Russian noblemen first poisoned him, then shot him, and finally chucked him in the freezing river. Today, the Mad Monk might best be known for being the subject of a disco song, hailing him as Russia's greatest love machine, which I think is not a bad title to have.
Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine. It was a shame how he carried on.
The Kremlin over here, the river, beyond that river is just forest. So you've got the town on this side of the river, and then these mountains with more forest. Wow. It's definitely the best view I've seen on my trip so far. It's a fortress, isn't it? The first settlers would have been here. On a hill as well. Good military strategy. Anyone coming at you, you can just chuck stones at them, fire your arrows. What a view, huh?
The Deputy's Palace Museum tells the history of Siberia with the most exciting exhibit on the Siberian Tatars. Russia is home to more than 180 different ethnic groups, with Slavic Russians being by far the most dominant, making up 80% of the population. The second most dominant group are the Tatars, who make up 4%, and within this Tatar group there are three main subgroups. the Volga Tatars, the Crimean Tatars, and the Siberian Tatars, the last of whom are indigenous to Tobolsk and the subject of the museum. Historically, the Siberian Tatars lived on the steppes of North Asia and were distinct from the Russians, first, by their Mongol and Turkic ancestry, second, their Turkic language, written at the time in Arabic script, and third, their mix of shamanistic and Islamic belief. Famed for their hunting and selling of fur, they were also skilled in embroidery and masters of the bow and arrow. But in the 1500s, Tsar Ivan the Terrible began expanding his Russian territory and recruiting a military tribe known as the Cossacks. Russia defeated the Siberian Tatars in 1582, establishing Tobolsk as the new capital of the region. Russia then continued advancing east as European firearms and disease wiped out indigenous groups. It would take 60 years for Russia to reach the Pacific Ocean, and a further 100 years to sail beyond Siberia into Alaska, completing their eastern exploration. Today, Russia's remarkable Siberian conquest has been likened to the European colonization of North America, and the Cossack leader who defeated the Siberian Tatars, Yermak Timofeyevich, is regarded by some as Russia's Christopher Columbus. Indeed, Tobolsk remembers Yermak with a statue standing pride of place at the entrance of this museum, and also with a monument overlooking the town. As for the Siberian Tatars, they, along with the 180 plus ethnic minorities that make up 20% of Russia's population, have helped create the often overlooked heterogeneous cultural makeup of modern day Russia. I then met up with my couchsurfing host Alla for an apt chat about her family. What's the name of your daughter?
Veronica.
Veronica. And Veronica, how old?
Now 20.
When did Veronica get married? Last year. Oh, okay. To a Tatar man.
Yes.
So this is Samad and he is from Tatar. He's a Tatar background. In Russian culture, there are many mixed relationship between Russian and Tatar, or is mix. Anna then presented beer and fish, a traditional Russian snack combination.
Pellet.
Oh wow. Wow, this looks very traditional. It's cooked or not cooked?
Salt
Yeah.
and sun.
Salt and sun.
Finish.
Okay. Okay. It's going to be okay for me? Very fishy.
I built my daughter 19.
19. Is this young?
It's
Normal?
normal. My school friend, Olga, live in Rotterdam.
Rotterdam, Holland.
And she don't married. She haven't children. She think she's very young. In Russia, no young.
Why in Russia people think like this? Why in Holland people think like this?
It's Europe. Family. Normal family has children. It's good. No normal family don't have children. No good family. European people don't think about. First place, it's me. Yes? European me main. In Russian family main.
Yes. I cannot eat more.
No.
No. This for me is.
I eat.
You eat more. Okay, you eat more. I stay. We talk. I drink beer. You eat fish.
Okay.
In the morning, I was back on my Trans-Siberian journey to visit my next city of Tyumen.
So first impressions of Tyumen. It's not like Tobolsk, that's for sure. Very big motorways, massive buildings in the city centre. It's a bigger city. It's a lot bigger, isn't it?
Founded at the same time as Tobolsk in the late 1500s, it wasn't until the late 1800s that Tyumen became the region's leading city. When first the Trans-Siberian Railway was constructed through Tyumen. Second, when businesses relocated east to Tyumen during the Second World War. And third, when oil and gas was discovered nearby in the 1960s. Today, the Tyumen region produces the highest level of oil and gas of any area in Russia, making the city the richest by GDP per capita in the whole country.
I'm in the city park. If you was a kid, this would be quite fun, I think. It's in the park in the middle of the city. Modern rides, all colourful. Coming out of City Park now, and quite a nice park. Right, here I am, outside the theatre, again taking a prominent place in the city centre here in Tyumen. But I've just also discovered that Rafa Benitez is holding a jazz night. Might go.
The Siberian Cats Park is a tribute to the 238 cats sent from Tyumen to St. Petersburg during the Second World War, which is both a sombre and curious tale. In 1941, the Germans blockaded St. Petersburg in the event known as the Siege of Leningrad, as the city was known then. With lack of food, people resorted to eating their own pets, and consequently, the eradication of cats led to an explosion of rats, which aside from destroying the scarce food and spreading disease, they were a particular threat to the precious artefacts of the Hermitage Museum. When the siege ended after 2.5 years and around 1.5 million deaths, one of the most of any single battle in war, the Tyumen police went around their city catching stray cats and put 238 of them on a train. In total, 5,000 cats from across Siberia were sent to protect Leningrad and the Hermitage Museum. In 2008, the museum, who still keep around 70 cats that roam around in their basement, thanked Tyumen by donating these golden cat statues in honour of probably the most effective feline intervention in war history.
Terrific views. Well, I say terrific views. Actually, if you look on that side, it's actually a bit rubbish. This side's amazing. It's really nice, kind of green. It just looks really nice, and I think, I'm pretty sure now that says Tyumen in bush writing. I can imagine people out there in the summer having a bottle of beer, maybe even like perched on the rolling hills if the authorities will allow them. Although, I don't know, it looks quite steep. You might end up sliding down into the concrete there. Oh, there should be a pile up. What on earth is going on back there? Even in national music here in Tyumen. A bit of Elton John and Kiki D. It's like the Hollywood sign, except it isn't. Now that is Tyumen.
And so back on the train and reflecting on my time in the town of Tobolsk and the city of Tyumen, I could conclude that both were pleasantly different experiences. The region's old capital, Tobolsk, offered historic charm with its picturesque Kremlin and its breathtaking views, while its new capital, Tyumen, delivered modern design with its playful parks and a stunning embankment. But most importantly, reflecting on the halfway point in my Russian journey, it was the conversations I was able to have with local people that was making this trip the most rewarding travel experience I had ever been on. Join me as I continue to discover more about Russian culture in the next episode of Modern Grand Tour, where we'll be in Russia's third largest city, Novosibirsk, and where we'll learn about the extraordinary traveller, spiritualist and painter Nicholas Roerich, go back in time in the USSR Museum, and of course, meet the locals. So until next time, Godspeed.